here for a second, okay? And I'm going to get to some of your questions, all right? The New York State congressional map. If it ends up, the first one was clearly illegal. 2 Republican seats, clearly illegal. But Lee Zeldin's getting screwed. All right. Even though he represents the last Republican area of New York City or the New York area. All right. I wouldn't call it the city because it's not. I mean, it's not. But Staten Island and Long Island are the last Republican remaining bastions in New York, that state, the New York City area. Okay. To try to dilute their vote with urban areas in Kings County is totally unacceptable. You're just using population. You're not considering any of the other considerations. They are in no way, shape, or form similar in culture, in even income in some areas, geography, nothing. They're totally different people. They're living on Long Island for a reason. They're living in Staten Island for a reason. All right. Look, I'm not trying to be a schmuck here, but they don't have anything in common with kings or queens.
Nope.
So but that being said, to come out with 4 Republican seats, 22-4, that's reasonable. I have to be honest. 4 is reasonable. It is. New York, like a state like California, for instance, Democrats love to whine, right? Like that schmuck over at that other schmuck election forecast site that sucks. He constantly bellows on and on. How could they do this in North Carolina? Biden won this much of the vote. Trump barely won it. How could they do this in Texas? Percentage of the vote has nothing to do with it. Can you give Donald Trump 33% of the... Can you give Republicans 33% of the congressional districts in the state of California because Donald Trump won 33%? No. It's not viable. It's just not going to work out. And that being said, Democrats don't deserve 47% of the districts in Florida. Really? Democrats should probably have no more than 2 seats in the state of Florida. Sorry. And if that, they'd have to fight for the one in that really goes through Miami.
Mm-hmm.
They'd have to fight for that still. They'd get Browards and Palms. That would be a considerably safe Democratic seat. The rest of it, Tallahassee is not enough population to just drown out the rest of Duval, and it's nonsense. It's total nonsense. New York State, though, it's kind of hard to find more than 4 Republican seats. It is. Now, I have heard a good argument for 5 is, but the fact of the matter is what they're doing is using Albany to dilute the rest of the conservative vote and the rest of the state. I see Elise Stefanik's probably not happy, or she's happier than Tyranny, but, that's a good question. I just think New York State's not one of the more egregious examples. You have states like California, you have states like out in New Mexico, Oregon, Washington. These were egregious examples of gerrying. And Florida, you better take your heads out of your butt. Take your heads out of your butt. Don't think about right now. Think about 2 years from now, 4 years from now. And this idea that you can't use political advantage in your calculations, shut up. They're all considering political advantage. Michigan. They turned Michigan 3 from an R6 leaning district to a D3. They're doing a better job. Now, D3 does not make it a Democratic district, especially not in this cycle, for sure. I know this is very early, Steve asks, but what are the odds the Republicans win a veto-proof majority in Congress this November? I'm not sure the Senate map is there for them on that. I just don't think that's possible. Um, I mean, anything's possible, but I just don't. I mean, that's way more seats than we have, as viable target list in the House. I think people should kind of like tamp down their expectations for two reasons. When Republicans won more than 60 seats in the House, it was after the Democrats had won a landslide victory with Obama's presidential election. They won seats they never should have won. And then they took a radically left turn that isolated people like Jason Altmaier. And no matter how conservative he even tried to remain, he got painted with that brush, and him and many others were just totally wiped off the map. Um, there isn't an overextension at play right now with Democrats like there was in 2010. That's number one. And number two, Republicans fought hard with redistricting last time. They did not this time. They're kind of losing that battle, and they have lost opportunities that they should have had. They're also sabotaging their own in some places. Like, full disclosure, like you guys know, I have polled for David Gilio in California 13. It's an open district that they wrote that is majority Hispanic. One of the areas Larry Elder did the best. Donald Trump lost the district 54-44, so it's within 10 points. The average swing right now, as you guys know, is about 14 points away from Democrats. Looking at New Jersey and Virginia, it is well within the realm of winnable because you have so many Hispanic men who, when we ask in the rematch, who'd you vote for? They told us, Biden. I did. Now, who would you vote for? Trump, hands down. What about the generic ballot? I'm a little bit hesitant on Republicans. So if like a Trump-aligned candidate came in there, did well with the base, and then continued to reach out and win those voters who voted yes to recall Gavin Newsom, because it is only in that part of the state where they did. The biggest three major counties that are in that district voted yes. Larry Elder won 58% in one and 60+% in the other two. Winnable district, but Republicans seem intent, dedicated to the prospect of electing a Democrat. Many of these so-called local Republican leaders endorsed Adam Gray, who they are arguing will be a moderate. He is not. He is endorsed by, he's whatever he needs to be. That's what Adam Gray is. He runs like a coward for many key votes, except he was the decisive vote on the gas tax. And here you have a bunch of Republicans who are defeatists, used to losing locally, thinking that he's going to win and the huge numbers of the base are going to vote for him. Let me say this very clearly right now. No base Republican is going to vote for a D this year. Not happening. But this is how stupid some of these people are. They really believe that. They really do. And it's sad because there are a lot of donors in the area who love Donald Trump, yet are being told just to donate to the Democrat because Republicans, are this guy's a moderate Democrat and he's likely to win. BS. It is prime and right for a Republican to win an open seat in California for the first time in many, many years. So if Republicans don't get their act together, a seat like that could essentially be forfeited when it's absolutely a winnable seat right now. Absolutely. I've polled it myself, and as the only pollster out there who found that the Central Valley would in fact vote yes, while Orange County and San Diego would vote no, I think I have a little bit more authority than the rest of them. So you have a seat like that, depending on what they do in Florida. That could be a -1 or 2. Probably just -1, to be honest. But, there's one in New Mexico that swung 30 points in 2020. It was on the verge of going. They split that up and packed it with Albuquerque. And there's a lot of these. So I'm just saying, even though the lead for Republicans is big, the idea that they could get to a supermajority may be difficult if redistricting continues to go the way it's going. All right. But there are always surprises and always districts that just wind up going. And everybody's like, oh my God, this is a catastrophe. The House of Delegates, I'd have to go back and look. We had at best 50-50 if Republicans were going to have a great night. And we had 2 target districts that we were looking at, but we're like, you know what? This one's got a lot of precincts. There's not much Hispanic vote in the state, but there's a lot of precincts that are majority Hispanic or plurality Hispanic, and then plurality Black. And Republicans won them overall anyway. So we just didn't see that coming. We did see the swing in Hispanics, and we did see the increase in Black vote share. You guys know that. We went over it all. But when it's a wipeout, it is possible to take some of these other districts. It's just Republicans seem intent on sabotaging themselves. And by the way, in California, they're doing that purely out of this like personal vendetta. They hate Donald Trump, and they want the California Republican Party purged of Trumpism. They want the delegates. They want whatever chump has sat down and agreed that they can have the delegates after what happened with Faulkner and Baris to hell out of the state party. Larry Elder came out of nowhere and just relegated the guy to irrelevance. So, I don't know where. Speaking of Larry, sometimes you hear once in a while. You might want to take a look at it. That's all I'm saying. That was your neck of the woods. They loved you there. You outperformed there. I mean, if you leave it up to the Republican establishment, guys, they will blow every opportunity. I mean, they are the best at snatching defeat out of the hands of victory. They're stupid, they're corrupt, and they're scared. That's who they are. So I'm saying, of course, I think the Republicans are going to take back the House of Representatives. They don't have much to get there. But right now, my expectations are a little bit tamped down until I see the remaining, what's going on with the rest of the playing field. Okay? And I'm not saying that to add negativity to Republicans by any means. Be optimistic if you're a Republican. I'm simply saying until I see some of this stuff work out and where everything falls, I need to just give it a second. All right. The RNC getting forced out or leaving. We'll see who's the replacement. We'll see how they act. Hi folks, Rich Baris, the People's Pundit, host of Inside the Numbers with the People's Pundit, and co-host of What Are the Odds with Barnes and Baris. If you liked what the New York Post called above average transparency, then go ahead and like the page, share the videos, and hit that notification bell. It'll let you know when we're going to go live.